This is the fourth episode of this show we call Everything I Know. And it's a video blog about painting, death, and dogs. I think mainly about painting and death, but things need to come in threes, you understand. And so dogs seemed as good as any, since they're almost always in my paintings for some reason. I think because they're my guardian and guides and stuff like that, on this side and the other side. I'm one of those people that think, they really understand dogs better than everybody else. I don't know, maybe it's true for some people. Dog whisperers and so forth. Anyway, last episode, I mentioned two things. Bonus. The bonus hasn't happened yet, but I'm not going to let you down. I'm not going to let you guys down. The bonus is coming. It's just taking a little bit longer. I had to recover from that last video. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought it would. But it's going to come. The bonus video is going to come. The other thing I mentioned was Bob Ross, the art teacher. He used to be on PBS, and I even put a clip of his work at the end of the video. Now, I mentioned earlier that we were going to try to get an interview with him because, I'm not really teaching art, but I stand in front of a canvas and I talk like he did. And I didn't. When I said that, I wasn't sure. I didn't know that Bob Ross died quite a few years ago, and so we're still going to try to get the interview, which I think would be a real coup. We're going to have to see. We have to see what his status is. We're not even sure if he's around anymore, whether he's, somebody else now, so to speak. So we're going to get that status. And if we can get the interview, that would be fantastic, because I got so many questions from an art point of view, and then the overview, and has he made a lot of new friends, or any other painters over there? Has he talked Chagall? And there's a couple, there's a few that I'd really like. I've got a few questions for you. It's just the way it is. So Bob Ross. I was a big fan. I am a big fan of his because he had a soothing voice, and I listened to him on the radio when at PBS. Over the left end of the dial, you could pick up PBS TV on the radio. I thought of a lovely story, a human interest story about a blind child who learns how to do these beautiful paintings by listening to Bob Ross on the radio. Something, there's closure about that story I like. So if any of you feel like writing it, please do. I'm not going to write it, but I think it's a cute idea. But he, one of his slogan was, "There are no mistakes, only happy accidents." How cool is that for any teacher? Because that's the main thing. With American adults, I don't know about the others, but those are the ones I've worked with. Have a morbid fear of making a mistake whenever it comes to an artistic expression, singing or talking in front of other people, or painting or drawing. Oh, I can't draw, I can't paint, I can't do that, I can't do that. What did they do to us? What did they do to us? I don't know, but they did something, and I'm afraid that it was intentional. But no matter what they did to us, it's our life, and we have to figure it out. We can't blame anything on anybody else. We have to start from where we are. So Bob Ross, sweet man. I was watching clips on YouTube a while back, and he was talking about his mother. He said, "I'm a mama's boy, I don't care who knows it." And it's like, there's so much to applaud about the man. He said he used to yell at people when he was in the Air Force, and he said he never wanted to do that again. So he spoke very softly for his art classes, and it's terrific stuff. I'm a big fan. So I think what I'm drawing here, what this makes me think of, this particular angle and these open doorways, is a house that I lived in outside of Bloomington, Indiana, a long time ago, in the early 70s, with my girlfriend and a couple of friends, and my sister lived there for a while. And I've always had this thing with the old farmhouses. I remember driving around with my mom, and I'd say, "Oh, look at that house." And she'd go, "Oh, Douglas, what is wrong with you? That's a wreck. Just should knock it down." Oh no, it's got so much soul. Soul, there's something we could talk about, right? Soul and artwork and stuff like that. What is it? What does it mean when something's got soul? And when we're not speaking trivially, I think. When it just means like, oh, that's just, like white people don't have rhythm and stuff like that. Does it exist? Do you have one? What's it feel like? How do you know you have one? Are you sure you don't? Does it mean anything? All those questions, I think are just unbelievably untaught. Nobody refers to this stuff. I mean, people do refer to them occasionally, and maybe all the time. It's just that I'm only driving across the middle of the United States every few years and listening to AM radio. And I have to tell you, I mean, I'm in, some of those crazy Sunday preachers on the radio I think have just got it right on. They're not all of it. They could get some more tolerance for sure of different, but they're just being tribal. They can't really help it. But yeah, the soul. How do you know? How do you know something's got it, how it doesn't, and stuff like that? Those to me are difficult questions, but the one that's more difficult but much closer to home and so more deserving of attention and solving is like, because all the others rest on this one, is what if I have a soul? What is it? How do I know? And so I came to this question recently, the last few months. I mean, maybe a couple years, perhaps. I don't know if it's because of my age or what happened to me. I really don't know. But I started really wondering and thinking that when I used the word soul, I didn't know what I was talking about. It was just a word just thrown in the blank there, as if I knew what I was talking about. I'd have no idea, and I had been avoiding it because I didn't know. And so I started thinking about it, and what came to me, the first thing that came to me, was that I knew I had a soul when I damaged it, when I bruised it, when I harmed it. Not just ignorance, that just happens all the time, but when you do something like tell a lie or hurt somebody or hurt yourself, then that sick feeling inside, for me, that's like, oh, what I just hurt, that's my soul. So I hope in the future that I become more adept at sensing the positive aspects of the soul, the joy and the warmth. And I do get those things now, and mainly in the company of my friends and in the people that I work with and stuff like that. So I've learned to avoid those things that cause my soul pain. There's a Zen proverb that I didn't get when I was a kid, and I struggled over because I was reading D.T. Suzuki when I was 16, but one was, oh master, what is Zen? That's a whole, like a line of jokes, like Japanese vaudeville. Oh master, what is Zen? Many, many different answers you're supposed to puzzle over. So one was, well, Zen is not doing anything that you hate. And it's like, wow, that's a weird approach, but the Zen Buddhists will probably never admit to such thing as a soul, but it doesn't matter. We're just talking about semantics here. But do nothing that you hate, do nothing that injures your soul, and that's going to be the right direction. And then you can start navigating by these more positive feelings too. In my opinion, that's something that we can all do. But first, just to think about it. First, whenever we approach an issue like the first thing to do is just think about it a lot. Like I said in the time before, I thought deeply about these things for a long time. That's the first thing we do. Most of the time, we're just like little spiders on top of the water, just flitting around. Our ever so important daily events that we must attend to. Busy. That busyness is bad for the soul, frankly. And yet we're seduced into it, and it's one of those truly pernicious things that our culture actively supports. You know, you're rewarded for drinking all that Starbucks and working overtime and sleeping at your desk. You know, we're rewarded for that. Partly because we're Calvinist, that's a structure, but partly because, you know, who benefits? Yeah, I'll tell you who benefits from that attitude. So we got to save ourselves, no matter what was done to us in the past. No matter what was done to us in the past, we've got to save ourselves. No one else will. I think that's the inexorable, cold law of nature. People can help us. They can show us things, whether by design or not. We can learn from everybody we meet and everything that happens to us. But we have to be interested in learning. You know, we have to be open to it. We have to be thinking about it deeply for a long time. Okay, well, I know we didn't get too much into the death and dying this time, so I feel bad about that, but we'll get back next week. Maybe we'll do a show from the cemetery or something, or have an actor in here playing Todd. Anyway, Aunt Dorothy, she's chomping at the bit saying, when are you going to talk about me and the play that I did? You know, Death is a Salesman. So we got many weeks ahead of us and more shows, and I will just leave you with this fact, and it's that I'm Douglas Truth, and this has been Everything I Know.
Let's have some fun. A lot of paint. Well, what a messy brush I got there. Look at that son of a gun. I got paint all the way up to the furrow. That's okay. Maybe back in here there lives a few trees that are closer to us, and they're big and they're strong. There they are. See? Now, if you have problems making your paint stick over this mountain, because there's a lot of paint back here, add some paint thinner to your dark. I'm doing all right here today. But sometimes you have a little problem. If that occurs, just add a little thinner, because a thin paint will stick on top of the thicker paint. There. And I do realize that happens. Sometimes people write and tell me that they're having some problems. Usually if you just add a little paint thinner, that'll cure it. There. You know, I mentioned before, we travel all over the country. We give painting demonstrations and work with PBS stations and other charity groups around the country to help them make a happy buck or two. And if we get to your area, come see us. Shoot, I'd love to have the opportunity to meet you and talk with you. I've met literally thousands of people. It's fantastic. They bring photographs of their paintings in. It's unreal what people are doing. And if you'd like to know when I'm going to be in your area, drop me a line. Just put your name and address on a card and send it to the address at the end of the station. They'll send it to me. We maintain a little mailing list, and I'll try to drop you a card and let you know when we're going to be in your area. Well, we've got a whole mess of trees going there. And I'm just going to take a knife, just here and there. I know those are hard to see, but there's little lines in there. We need to brighten this picture up. I'll put some snow in it. That'll zing it. Let me find the big brush. Okay, let's get serious.
There is